Hello everyone, Lurgs here, and today it's how to fit a blackout curtain rail and blackout curtains. And hopefully at the end of the video you'll have them successfully installed like this one. And I'm going to be a pair of curtains and pull myself together and get on with this video. This is a comprehensive video, so it is quite long, but hopefully it covers everything that you need. First of all, you need to measure the width of your window. This is so you know how wide you want to have the curtain rail. They are extendable, but you want one that's wider than the actual window frame. And this window is 164 centimeters wide, so I'm just going to add 15 centimeters onto each side. So I'm going to want a curtain pole that's about 194 centimeters wide, and then you need to measure the drop from where the curtain rail is going to hang and from the bottom of your window, and that obviously depends where you want the curtains to actually fall to, whether you want them level with the window or slightly below. And this drop from the curtain rail to where I want it is about 114 centimeters. What you're going to need today is a stool or a step ladder, something to stand on to help you fit the curtains and the curtain rail. And this is my blackout curtain rail here, and it's the correct length. This one is adjustable from 120 to 210 centimeters. It's basically telescopic, it goes in and out. And these are my blackout curtains here, 168 centimeter width on each curtain, and these have got a drop of 137 centimeters, so a bit further down than the actual bottom of the window ledge. And you're going to need some tools, a screwdriver, maybe a drill. I'm actually screwing into a wooden batten today, so that's a lot easier. I won't need to be using any raw plugs or screwing into concrete. If you are screwing directly into some masonry above a window, just be wary that there might be a concrete lintel above it, and they are very hard to screw into. So this particular window frame has already got a wooden batten installed above it, so it'll be nice and easy to install. And you're also going to need a spirit level. Most people these days use the modern laser spirit level, so it puts an actual laser line on the wall. I'm just using an old school spirit level. This is so we can get the curtain rail absolutely spot on level. And also you might need a pencil just to put some markings on the wall of where you're going to be putting the screw holes. Right, I've unpacked the curtain rail out of the box, and at its maximum width it's 210 centimeters, so I don't need it that wide. And it literally just slots in here, and you can adjust it to the smallest length or to the maximum length. So this is absolutely perfect for our window. And I love these blackout curtain rails because the curtains actually go round the edges and block out all the light, and obviously that helps with the insulation as well. And here are the items that come with the curtain rail. You've got the middle holdall there, which holds the middle of the curtain rail. That's fully adjustable. And then you also get an Allen key. You get some wall plugs, which I won't be using today, and you also get some screws. Use those wall plugs if you're screwing into masonry. And there's the instruction sheet. And I've found my glasses so I can read the instructions. First of all, you need to remove the end caps off of each end of the curtain rail. And there's two supplied Allen keys with this particular curtain rail. So we've got an Allen key nut on the top and one underneath. I'm just going to gently unscrew that. If I just turn it over, there's a smaller one underneath. That just releases that from the main curtain pole. And make sure you don't get these muddled up, because the one on the other end is smaller. So make sure you keep it this end of the curtain rail. I'm just going to put the Allen key nuts back in just so I don't lose them. So the same on the other end. And I'm going to be installing the bracket on this left hand side, about 15 centimeters to the left of the actual window. And that's going to be the same at each end. So I'm just going to mark that up roughly. There's a couple of holes there from where an old curtain rail has been removed. I can just put some filler in that later on. I'm just going to mark 15 centimeters over to the left, and then exactly in the middle of that wooden batten, because I know that that wooden batten is level. and do exactly the same on the right hand side. 15 centimeters away from the window frame, and again dead level. If you've got a laser spirit level, use that and get those left and right crosses absolutely level. Now the screws that have been supplied are designed to go into those raw plugs which have also been supplied, but actually this is going to be no good because I'm screwing into wooden batten, so I'm actually going to use some of my own screws because I'm going straight into wooden batten, which is nice and easy. And those screws that were supplied were black, but that's quite a simple fix because at the end of the video we can just take a black marker permanent pen and just paint the outside of the screw head. So I've picked 6 screws here. I've just got this hand drill just to start off any hole, and this is the first bracket here on the left hand side. Just line it up with the mark that I've put on the wooden batten. And what I've done here is a nice little trick. I've just put some blue tack on the back of that bracket just to hold it into place, and then take my small hand drill and just make a small indentation just to start it and get it going. You actually only need 3 screws around the edge, but you can put another one in the middle if you want to. It's always a good idea when you're drilling into wood just to put a few kind of pilot holes in it. If you have got a really small drill bit, it's worth just doing a small pilot hole in there. That just helps the screw just bite into it and stops the wood splitting. But this is right in the middle of the wooden batten, so it's very unlikely to split. Right, let's just pop that off. You can see there my blue tack trick. I'm just going to make these holes slightly bigger, just so when I'm putting the screws in they just bite a bit easier. And then just do that with the other 2. So now I've got 3 holes ready. And one of my wood screws, which is just perfect for the width of this wooden batten. You don't want one that's any longer that's going to start going into the masonry behind. And just going to tighten the first screw in. Don't go fully tight with the first one, just get the first screw in. You don't want to tighten it up completely tight until you've got the other 2 in and then it's all lined up. So let's just get the other 2 in and get those going. And I know this is a 25-minute long video, but I try and keep all my videos comprehensive. There's no point in skipping any bits. Just going to start tightening it down fully now. Look at that. And that is absolutely solid. That's the left hand side end bracket in. And this is the cover that goes on it. And then it's time to get the right hand side bracket in, and that one is really important because that is what is going to make it level. Now if you've got a laser level, definitely use one of those to get the right hand bracket in, then you'll know it's absolutely spot on level. If not, you can just use your spirit level and just go with the pencil markers. And I've already lined this one up and got a screw in. Now before I go crazy with this, I've got an absolutely perfect straight piece of wood. I'm just going to lay that across the top, and it's always worth standing back and just looking at it with your eye before you put the spirit level on it just to see if it does actually look level. Obviously if you've got a laser spirit level, that will tell you perfectly. So I'm just going to put my spirit level on top of this piece of wood. And that is absolutely spot on. If it wasn't, obviously you'd need to adjust one of those brackets at the end, either move it slightly up or down. But that could be very tricky if you've already got the raw plugs and the screws in the concrete masonry. It's slightly easier if you're screwing into wooden battens. It's a bit easier to move. You can always move it slightly to the left and slightly up or down. And that right hand end cap is now fully installed and absolutely solid. And now it's time to install the middle holder, which holds up the curtain rail in the middle to give it some support. And this you have to get reasonably close to the level of the curtain rail, but it is fully adjustable to go up and down. So as long as you get it reasonably close, it is adjustable, so you can still make it nice and level. But before we do that, we need to take this apart. It's just got this screw in the middle. Just going to remove that. So that bracket slides in and out. You can actually take it off. So we need to get that bracket screwed into the middle of the wooden batten. You can see there from those holes, once you've got that bracket in, you can actually move it up and down. So it's not a problem if you don't get it completely accurate, as long as it's central. And again, if you've got your laser spirit level, you can use that to make sure it's in the right place. And this small supporting bracket needs to be installed as well. I'm just going to put that screw back in, but only gently, not fully tightened. I'm just going to screw this one in gently. Just to line up where the curtain rail is going to go, but I'm not going to screw that in fully because the one that is hidden, we still need to tighten that up. So I'm just going to get it as close as I can. You can see there it's fully adjustable up and down and in and out. Just going to put one of the end caps on. And then the one at the other end. And for this next part, take your 2 Allen keys, and then I'm just going to offer the curtain rail up to the brackets that I've installed. Obviously this will be easier if you've got 2 people, if you've got somebody else who can help you. I'm just going to push it onto that end bracket on the right hand side. Pop it over the middle support holder and then get it onto the left hand bracket, just slot it in. And then that middle bracket, sliding it up and down until it's perfectly level. And then I'm just going to use one of the Allen keys just to tighten it up at each end. Don't have to go crazy with this, just tighten it up so it doesn't fall off of the wall whilst I'm trying to adjust it in the middle. And just to start with, I'm going to be installing the curtain rail without the curtains, because obviously with the curtains on it's much heavier, much more difficult to install. So I'm going to install the curtain rail, make sure it's properly level, exactly perfectly level, and then I'll remove it again, install the curtains and then reinstall it. So I've got those tightened up at each end. but not super tight. So this is the middle bracket here, so I can still move this up and down. And then it's a good idea to step back as far as you can and just look with your eyes to see if it's level with the window frame and the ceiling. That is looking pretty good. You can also move it in and out. So just move it in and out until a place where it feels comfortable, it's not being stretched. I'm just going to remove this screw here at the bottom, just so I can move that bracket out of the way. And then get that top one nice and tight. So I'm just going to tighten that one down. And then again, step back to make sure that it looks level. If you've got your laser guided spirit level, use that. Now we're going to get that bottom screw back in with the bracket, which holds that middle clip in place. You can do this nice and tight now. This is still sliding in and out. I'm just going to push it in until it just feels nice and taut. And then tighten up this screw here, which tightens up that middle bracket, stop it moving. And I can now tighten up that bottom screw fully. But I'm not going to lock the curtain rail into place with that hook bracket, because obviously we've got to remove the curtain rail again to install the curtains. And as well as standing back, then take your spirit level and just make sure that the curtain rail is still level with that middle bracket tightened up. And this is perfectly level. If it wasn't, you could obviously adjust that middle bracket up or down, but this is all looking good, so we can crack on. And these are the thermal blackout curtains here with metal eyelet rings. Just remove those from the packet. So now we know that the curtain rail is nice and level. It's time to remove the curtain rail and get the curtains on them before we put them back up again. Just gently unscrewing the Allen key locks at each end. And then the curtain rail should just lift off. And then you're just pulling it out from the end brackets. Now we can lay this on the floor and get the curtains installed. It's going to be easier just to remove the section from the middle and just to install the curtains on each end. So the first one has got to be that way round so that it sits nicely against the back wall. I don't normally put many links up, but there's a link above now about how to keep your metal curtains super smooth on the curtain rails. So after a couple of years they'll get really scratchy and hard to pull open and closed. But there's a really neat simple tip to keep them super smooth. Okay, this is the left hand side one, so do exactly the same on the other pole with the other curtain. And let's get that back installed. Again, if you've got a glamorous assistant to help you, that will be easier. Got the right hand side one in and resting on the middle bracket. Quickly go over to the left hand side and get this end cap installed. Went to the doctor, said, doctor, I keep feeling like a pair of curtains. He said, pull yourself together. Dear oh dear, tumbleweed. Now take your supplied Allen keys and just lock that curtain rail into place on the left and right hand side. So you can do this nice and tight now. Now we're only tightening the underside Allen key bolts first, because the first curtain eyelet needs to go over the top screw and get locked into position. I'll explain that in a few minutes. And that keeps the end curtain nice and flat against the wall. Make sure it's fully pushed in when you tighten it up. So that's just locking the curtain pole into position. Now what we need to do now is that top screw which locks into position, we just need to quickly unscrew that. So I've just quickly popped that off. And then what you do is you reinstall that screw with the curtain on the back wall, and that means when you pull the curtains out, that last bit of curtain can't come out. So that just stays against that back wall. So with the supplied Allen key, just lock that into place nice and tight. That curtain now can't go anywhere when you close it. Just going to turn the Allen key round the other way just to get that nice and tight, get a lot more leverage on there. Brilliant. And then make sure you do the same at the other end. Now we can tighten up the middle bracket. So we can tighten up this one here, which holds the curtain rail into place on that U bracket there. Just tighten that up clockwise. That just stops the curtain rail moving around. Fabulous. Oh, and then that trick that I told you at the beginning, just take a black permanent marker. I'm just going to put some of that over the screw heads. Simple. You can actually buy little plastic caps, but they tend to fall off. So that's just nice and simple. And that is not the best view that you're ever going to see out of a window. Blackout curtain pole and curtains installed. Time to close the curtains. There's curtains for you and me. Great stuff. Really pleased with those. I love these curved curtain rails at each end. It just means that the curtain sits right back against the wall and just stops any light coming in. And obviously helps with insulation. The curtains do look a little bit crumpled, but they will drop out. I'm not very good with an iron. I'll just end up burning them. Well done, Lugs. And hopefully you've got your curtains installed as well. That definitely deserves a cup of tea. And this was another video inspired by my dad, who sadly passed away a couple of months ago, and he inspired a lot of my videos because he was a DIY master. Cheers to all the dads out there. If you've got a dad and you love him, then cherish him as much as possible, because he's not going to be around forever. Cheers, Dad. Love you. Miss you. In the corner here there's a video on how to keep your metal curtains super smooth on the curtain rails. And over here how to remove mould from silicone without any scrubbing. Down here how to defrost your freezer easily in under 15 minutes, and if you'd like to subscribe you can press this button here. I hope that was useful and see you in the next video. Cheers Dad, miss you.